Hey, 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 Travel Brats.
Happy Travel Brat Tuesday.
I'm Soph.
And I'm Nat.
And today,
we are going to go to the Gateway of the West.
Ooh.
I didn't know that this state was, first of all, so cool, and that it was known as the Gateway to the West.
I didn't either.
When you think of the state of Missouri, what do you think of?
Okay, the Arch, the Ark, Becky Thatcher's
The
pie.
Ark?
Isn't the Ark in St. Louis?
I think it's in Kentucky.
Okay.
But you know what's
Delete.
funny?
Delete.
What's funny actually is that when Matt and I took this trip and we're in Missouri, we Googled it because we were like, is the Ark in Missouri?
Yeah, I thought.
But then we read that it was in Kentucky, or at least the official Ark museum.
The
I think
Ark is in Kentucky. The
Yeah.
Arch is in Missouri.
Yes, the Arch.
Ark, Arch, Park.
There's
whatever.
lots of parks.
Arch. Also, I think of Becky Thatcher's pie.
Okay.
Because I had that one time, and there wasn't one skinny person in there. They're all waddling around, but it was the best diner ever and had the best pie. That's in Missouri, I know for sure, and I know that all the Mark Twain stuff is Missouri.
Okay, that's what I was going to say, the Mark Twain. Now, on this little tour through Missouri, we will not be hitting up any Mark Twain related things, so if you're a Mark Twain fan,
Next time.
I apologize. We don't go to Branson, unfortunately. However, we did consider taking a day trip to an amusement park that is in Branson, or it might be in Eureka, and the name is, what was it called? Silver Dollar City.
Silver
Dollar City. There are a lot of amusement parks. This is kind of a tangential start to our Missouri day, but there are a lot of amusement parks in Middle America. And my theory is that, first of all, there's a lot of flat land. So a lot of areas to be able to build these epic theme parks, but
Right.
also there's not really much to do. You're not near the beach. There's not really mountains. There's not a lot of outdoor things to explore necessarily.
Right.
And so you have a lot of beautiful parks, a lot of beautiful museums, a lot of theme parks, all these really cool things to give you activities and excitement. But we were just shocked at truly how many theme parks were just
Theme parks.
all over Middle America. Yeah, but especially the state of Missouri. And apparently Silver Dollar City is consistently known as one of the best, top, number one theme parks in the entire United States. So I regret a little bit that we didn't make the 3-hour trip down to Branson, but that just seemed kind of like a lot.
Yeah.
And we would have had to get up really early
Yeah.
for that kind of thing. So anyway, Silver Dollar City, that's also in the Mark Twain neck of the woods when you're in Missouri.
Oh, how cool.
Totally
Now,
random.
when did you guys go and how long were you there for?
Okay, so I was there in June/July. And we're going to talk about a few cities, starting with, of course, St. Louis. You mentioned the Arch.
Yeah.
And then I also want to talk about KC, Kansas City.
Ah.
A city that is both in Missouri and Kansas.
The Chiefs.
That's right, the Chiefs. And then also this sweet little charming town called Macon, which was my purpose for going. My reason for going to Missouri, a state I have never been to, by the way, so first time in Missouri, was to see my boyfriend Matt Michael, our favorite travel brat.
Shout out to Matt Michael.
In Rock of Ages.
Okay.
So he was running the show end of June, early July, they just closed. All that good stuff. So he picked me up in St. Louis and we did we packed this day in so much.
I love that.
So much to
Yeah.
do. And then dropped me off in Kansas City and we also packed a full day.
Wow.
So this is kind of a thing that we like to do. But
we are the same in that sense.
yes,
we
pack
love
as much
to
as you
pack
can
it
in one day. However, again, I will say before we dive in, especially with St. Louis, I was just amazed at the sheer amount of stuff to do in this city.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have thought of it.
Absolutely.
It sounds like let's go on a vacation
Nope.
to a big city. I would think New York, Chicago, Miami, Boston, even some of the other northern cities before I would think of St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but St. Louis, I learned a lot about its history, which was really cool as far as it being, I think, the number 3 port city, if not the number 2 port city.
Along the Mississippi.
Yeah, because it's along the Mississippi, and then also has the Missouri River, and it has just been a hub for the last century, but especially when ports were really a big deal, you know, in the early 1900s and late 1800s in the Industrial Revolution, this area of the world, well, specifically the United States, it was just like so much was happening. It was bustling, and a lot of people were coming through. But St. Louis was actually started by French, I think they were fur traders.
Oh, okay.
And so what's cool about St. Louis, this was what shocked me, and I reached out to my sister because, as you know from past episodes, she lives in Brussels and people speak French there, and so I often talk to her about French-related things, even though Brussels isn't in France. But I reached out to her and I said, okay, when I was in the airport in St. Louis, I heard every announcement in English, French, Spanish, and German.
Wow.
And that's crazy because I have been in many international airports in my time, and especially in the United States, usually if you hear multiple languages, it's just English and Spanish.
Yeah, totally.
And when you're in Europe, you're going to hear, like especially Brussels, everything is in English, French, and Dutch. So I was really surprised by the French and the German, but apparently the French influence is just crazy in St. Louis. And again, I'm like thinking, okay, I could imagine this in New Orleans maybe, but St. Louis. So French and German people are really the heart of St. Louis, but specifically the French influence, and it also shows up in the architecture. A lot of the architecture of the buildings is French.
Beautiful.
So I just thought that was a fun little random fact about St. Louis before we really dive into that city and move on to the other cities. But St. Louis is really cool.
I would have never guessed that was the background of it, and that's still how it currently is. I just think like Missouri, Southern, like
very
Southern,
just like classic American,
very country people.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I think it is truly Middle America. I mean, you just like lots of open fields and beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. It's very different from where I grew up in the mountains and the southeast. So the terrain was really cool, but it also, when I was looking at some of the trees, it felt like I was in Colorado at times, in some of the lowlands of Colorado. And to be honest, Missouri is not that far from Colorado.
No.
It's like Kansas, Missouri, Colorado. It's kind of all truly. I know.
There's the map if you guys can see it.
If you're watching,
there's Missouri in that tiny little U.S. area over there.
It's right there. But let's dive in.
Yeah.
Let's go. So one of the main attractions, of course, in St. Louis is the Arch. I mean, hello.
The Arch. I want to say arc every time you say arch. Arch, arch.
I know. Well, and of course you have, again, the French pronunciation is, I mean, they usually will say arc.
See,
right?
I'm French.
So there you go. You're getting into the French influence of St. Louis. So the Arch is amazing. Every time we would walk anywhere around the city, I'd be like, there's the Arch, there's the Arch. I mean, it is so much bigger than I realized, and it is actually the tallest monument in the United States.
Really?
Yes.
Learn something new every day.
Right? And it's officially, as of relatively recently, possibly in the last couple of years, it is now a national park.
How?
Well, there's a beautiful park, and it's actually the smallest it's the
smallest, and I was like, wait, what?
I know, it's really cool. It's the smallest national park in the United States, but it's the tallest monument in the United States. So it really has some cool things going for it. I mean, the grounds are beautiful, but it is like there's a park around it, and then you have the museum, and it is, again, compared to other national parks, super, super small, because it literally is just a park on the river and the Arch and this museum. We did the museum tour, so we learned a lot about other aspects of St. Louis history, and then we went up in the Arch.
You can go up in it?
You can go up in it.
What?
It's really cool. The mechanism that takes you up was built in the 60s, and so it's a little sketchy. You're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it's like tiny. You're in this little pod, and you go up, and then the area up top is super small and has these little windows that you can look out.
Oh my gosh,
but it's
so
pretty amazing, and I definitely was like, this is so worth it, because I mean, I'd love to go back to St. Louis and Missouri in general, but it's like, I'm only going to be here now and I want to do this. Like, how often can you say that you've been in the tallest national monument?
I know there's some Guinness Book of World Records stuff right there. Or the smallest national park.
That's right.
2 Guinness Book World Records in one.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
So there are 2 epic things in my mind. Well, there are a lot of epic things, but 2 things that we did that were really exciting was we went to a Cardinals game. These are like big events in my mind. 2 big epic events that happen in St. Louis is the Cardinals game.
Totally.
Oh my gosh.
Cardinals are great.
So incredible. This complex, they have this like huge entertainment complex next to the field where you can eat and drink and be merry and have a good time. And so we went there right before the game, and then we saw the game. We walked around the whole stadium. Really, really cool. Got some awesome pictures of, you can see the arch when you're, on one side of, actually a lot of angles when you're actually watching the game, you can see the arch in the backdrop. And that was just really cool. It kind of reminded me of seeing a game in Colorado when I was in Denver.
You see the Flatirons.
And you can see the mountains.
Oh, you see the mountain in the Front Range, yeah.
Right, so that's just like such a cool thing to be seeing a baseball game, a professional baseball game, which was fun in its own right, and then to be able to see this epic view. And the other really cool thing to do in St. Louis really has a lot of like you said, like Guinness Book of World Record type of things, because they also have, and you know me, I'm a theater girly, the largest professional regional theater in the United States is in St. Louis. It's called the Muni, and it is, well, I should say the largest outdoor. I think it might hold the record for largest outdoor and largest in general, because it hosts 11,000 seats.
Wow.
11,000 people.
That's huge.
Can see a show. And so their shows are later in the evening because they have to wait till the sun sets, and they only do summer shows.
Oh, how fun. They only do summer shows? That is like the opposite of the theater world.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So go to St. Louis in the summer if you're missing shows.
In the summer, and what's wild is they only do like 1 or 2 week runs of shows. So they'll do like 7 shows in a summer, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. Wow. And so we got to see the show Come From Away, which is just an awesome show. It was on Broadway, and often they hire Broadway stars. So they get like insane talent. Matt and I are like salivating because we're like, oh, we'd love to work at the Muni. But it's very hard to get in. And we got to see the opening night.
Oh, how cool.
Come From Away at the Muni. And just this, I mean, I have not had very many outdoor theater experiences. So that was kind of a cool experience in and of itself. And then to be in this massive space. Yeah. So I just thought that was cool. Like St. Louis, who would have thunk?
How was the evening weather during that show?
You know, it was hot. June/July in Missouri is pretty brutal, I'll tell you that. But they have these massive fans that help keep it cool. And when we were at the game, it had rained right before. There was like a little like early afternoon rain, so it actually kind of cooled things down. But it was still pretty sweaty. I mean, we had a hot day. We definitely had some pink shoulders and pink noses after being out all day. It was beautiful weather though. I was so glad that it was sunny, and the rain did help cool things down for both the game and the show.
Yeah, muggy but worth it.
Yeah. And what's really cool about the theater is that it is in Forest Park. Now, Forest Park is actually, I don't know how much bigger it is than Central Park, but it is a huge park, and it has so many things in it, like the zoo, the St. Louis Zoo.
Fun.
It also has, I think, 2 art museums, definitely 1. It definitely has like classic art museum, and then it also has the Muni. It has all these different like racquetball courts and pickleball and tennis, and then it has the World Pavilion from the World's Fair that was, I think, in 1904 or 1906.
That's great. That's so cool.
And so we actually scooted We got the motorized scooters. We did the
Okay.
little
Those are
the
so
birds.
fun.
We did the
They're
birds
so fun.
because we were like, we really, again, we wanted to maximize our day and
Yeah.
get as much in as possible. And walking around the park, you're
It's
not
fun
going
but
to be
slow.
Yeah, fun but slow. And scooting around the park is fun and fast, and you can see a lot more.
The wind in your face.
Exactly, and not too expensive. We felt like the price to pay for getting those little scooters was worth it because we again were able to see so much more. And this is another thing I really loved about St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of the museums are free.
Oh, see, that's like DC. I
Yep.
love that. That's awesome.
I was like, yes, St. Louis. So the art museum we went to is free. The zoo is free. And it's one of the most renowned zoos in the entire United States. Again,
Wow.
who would have thunk St. Louis having all
Yeah.
of these like top tier things?
I am being enlightened right now.
Truly, from living in the East Coast, being an East Coast girly, I'm like so prone to think that like we have all the best things.
Yeah.
And we do have a lot of great things in the East Coast, but I will say Missouri really delighted and shocked me in this way, but especially the city of St. Louis.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to do the zoo fully. We just did part of it because, again, we didn't have the full day, and a zoo could take you the whole day.
Yeah.
So we kind of did a truncated version of some of these things.
Yeah, get a taste of everything because
Yes.
you're only there for a short time.
Exactly. But it was just so nice to wander around the park and see everything. And the St. Louis Art Museum was really quite spectacular.
I love that.
They had so many different exhibits and just a lot of really cool things to see. And something we didn't go to was the St. Louis Science Center, which a lot of people said was
Very
really
cool.
cool, especially if you have kids. The zoo and the Science Center are really great.
Perfect.
And there's also a city museum. It's called the City Museum. This is, I think, one of the only museums that's not free.
Okay.
And it is a little pricey. And so we didn't end up paying to do it. But a lot of people say it's really incredible.
Okay.
And especially, again, if you have kids. And yet, they also say for adults, it's like an adult, what do you call it? Like a play place for
Oh,
adults.
yeah.
Basically is
Where
what
you're
they
like,
said.
oh,
They're
I'm
like
not into
things-
that, and then you're so into it.
Yeah, there's like things to climb and things to do.
I love it.
And we also didn't get to check out the Missouri History Museum,
Oh,
which
that'd be
is
cool.
really beautiful and is at the entrance of one of the entrances to Forest Park. You see this big
nice.
museum, the History Museum. I felt like we got some good history at the Arch Museum.
Yeah.
And so we didn't end up doing that one, but the Missouri History Museum is free. The Arch
Nice.
Museum and going up in the arch, that's not free.
Yeah.
So again, a few things that aren't free, but when you think about it, there are so many other things that are free
Totally.
that it's like
It's a
totally
great place to
worth
go
it.
with family, where you got a bunch of kids, and like to go on like a budget friendly trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And when we were at the park, we ate at the boathouse, which was cute. Like it was like right on this little like pond lake thing, and you're getting kind of this very like chill vibe. Like it was a nice area to sit and enjoy. If it had been a little cooler, we would have sat outside on the water. I saw a few people that braved the heat, but we sat inside and just had a lovely time.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a nice little break moment for us in between all of the things that we packed into this one day.
Wow.
And then before we went to the Muni, we ate at this place called Anthonino's Taverna.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh,
So
I'm
this
ready for
spot, if
this.
you know the show with, is it Guy Fieri?
Guy Fieri.
Yes, who does the
Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Yes, DDD, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. This restaurant was on that show.
Oh, how cool.
And they lived up to the hype. Oh my gosh, the food was amazing. And what's so cool about this area, so it's in an area called The Hill.
Okay.
And this part of St. Louis is, I think it's north of Forest Park, or no, it might be south of Forest Park. It's somewhere in
Right
conjunction.
outside?
Yeah, it's outside, like, because of course the Arch is on the river. That's like downtown is on the river.
Okay.
Often you'll see that downtowns are on rivers and parks are a little further out.
Okay.
More often than not
Yeah.
in cities. And so the park is a little bit further out. It's further west of the downtown area. And that's where you get this area called The Hill, which is known for its restaurants. There's a lot of different really amazing restaurants, but we decided to go to Antonino's, and they treated us like royalty. They were amazing. We just want to shout them out because the food was so good. It's Greek and Italian.
Ooh, I was gonna say I thought it was all Italian, but it's a fusion.
No, it's Greek and Italian.
Ooh,
yeah. So I it's two brothers, and one of their parents was Greek and one of their parents was Italian, which
how
of
cute.
course is really sweet because my boyfriend Matt is Greek Italian.
Oh,
One side of
yeah.
his family is Greek and the other side is
I
Italian.
totally forgot he was half Greek.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, this is like so fitting
So
for
cute.
us. And so for Matt, it was fun to try different foods on both
Yeah.
the Greek side and the Italian
Yeah.
side. We had a lot of different things. I had shrimp scampi, which is one of my favorites, and they do it a little bit
Can't go
differently,
wrong.
which is really cool. And we tried these things called I don't even know if I can pronounce it.
Go for it.
It's like
Do it.
ludmakas.
Marcus?
Lucamades.
Ooh.
It's spelled Louk.
Google it, Travel Brats.
Oumades. Lucumades. It's Greek, and they're these little. They're like little donut holes, but they're kind of like funnel cakey.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but they're
Double yummy.
Anyway, we had them with ice cream, and they were a great dessert. So Antonino's was great, and again, I'll say what I really liked about this whole area was it's like these restaurants in the middle of neighborhoods. The hill is people live in the hill.
Cute.
But there's also these restaurants that are just all over.
It's like in the city.
Yeah,
Like, it
it's
feels
like-
like you're in the city. Where there's
Yes.
like a apartment complex and restaurants. So
yeah,
cute.
but and yet it wasn't even apartment complex. It was like cute
Buildings.
little like midwestern town. Yeah, it was like
so
part
cute,
of
little
St. Louis
homes.
that was like really cute homes, and then this really beautiful
Oh, I
restaurant.
love that.
And you're like a 15-minute drive away from downtown,
Great.
and like a probably 10 to 15-minute drive from Forest Park.
Now I've got a question because this is all kind of downtown ish or close to downtown, right outside of downtown. How easy was the parking, or did you guys like Uber around?
So we were able to find, I will say there's more free parking in Kansas City than St. Louis,
Yeah.
but we managed to get decent street parking, and we also found a good place to park, and then we scooted, number one. We scooted around downtown.
So you can scoot everywhere.
You can scoot
technically.
everywhere. That's the nice thing about bigger cities is that these birds are everywhere. And then when we went to Antonino's and the Muni, we decided, because we scooted to the Cardinals game because that's like in downtown.
I just love how you say scooted.
I know,
because
we
it's so
scooted.
cute. Because like
We were scooting a boot.
yeah, that's so cute.
That's what we kept
in
saying.
Missouri.
Yep.
Now that's fun because like you can or cannot say that for when I went to Chicago, we bike rode everywhere. So we rode everywhere, but
cool.
like not it. And scooters, they're nice because the bikes like that's more exercise. So like we were riding around. Look, if you want more exercise, that's fine. But when we went to Chicago, my husband and I went to like church on Sunday morning, like 40 minutes away from like everything else we wanted to. So we rode bikes for like 2 hours along the North Shore, which don't get me wrong, was beautiful. But if we had scooted, I wouldn't be like disgustingly sweaty and hot in like June in the city when we were like trying to like go to museums and go to nice
'cause
restaurants.
Chicago
and
in June is also,
gross.
it's sticky, it's
Yeah.
hot. That whole area of, again,
Yeah,
middle
so
America.
I'm just loving
gets
the
warm.
scooter idea.
No, the scooters were great because it was 95 degrees.
Yeah.
The day we were there.
That's hot.
It was hot. But what
Hands
we
down.
actually did for Antonino's and the Muni was we got metro and bus tickets.
Oh, perfect.
It's like
Okay.
$5 for the day, and you can ride the bus and the metro, the train, also known as subway. You can ride that anywhere.
Easy.
So that was pretty easy. Some of the routes are a little bit tougher, and then we Ubered like once or twice as well, but we kind of utilized all different aspects of travel for the day because
all
again
easy.
we were trying to absolutely maximize what we could get done.
Right.
So that's St. Louis.
Wow.
It
That's
was
amazing.
a great day, and I am so sad that when we went to Kansas City, which we will talk about now, that we didn't get to go to a baseball game there.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is one of Matt's favorite stadiums, but they didn't have a game going the day that we were there. So we were like, okay, we'll just make use again. We scooted. We
That's
got
so
scooters
fun.
and we scooted all over Kansas City, and the downtown area is just really beautiful. There are a lot of really interesting buildings in Kansas City, and Kansas City is fun because, well, St. Louis too. They're both on the border of different states. So like we actually drove into Illinois for a second. We were like, we're in
so
Illinois
fun.
when we were in St. Louis, and then we went to in Kansas City. When you look up things to do in Kansas City, there is this one park that they suggest going to, and it's called Overland Park. It's an arboretum.
Ooh, beautiful.
And I didn't realize that it's actually 30 minutes outside of the city of Kansas City in the state of Kansas.
Oh, no way.
So we ended up going to Kansas, and that's another state I've never been to. So I'm like, well, I can say I've been to Kansas. And when we realized that it was a little ways out, we decided to drive our car to that one. And again,
because the parking would have been easy there.
Parking was great in Kansas City. There were a lot more free parking options, I will say. That was the only thing. It's like St. Louis has free museums, but they don't really have as good of parking, whereas Kansas City has some free things. You have to pay a little bit more for some of the activities, whereas tons of free parking.
Yeah.
So
Evens
we
out.
were able to go to this arboretum, and we were there on a free day
Oh, nice.
for the arboretum.
Okay.
So that really worked out. Because I mean, I don't know that we would have gone out of our way 30 minutes to go to this arboretum if it wasn't a free day.
Right.
But it was like, oh, this is kind of a cool and different thing to do.
Yeah.
And just like beautiful grounds. You walk around the grounds. I mean, you know how an arboretum is.
arboretums
It's just
are
like,
great.
yeah, I grew up near the North Carolina Arboretum, and it's so stunning. And it was fun, again, to be like, and we went to Kansas today.
Yeah.
So we did that. That was like the start of our day. And there are some really interesting things about Kansas City, again, that I did not know. And one of those is the World War I Museum and Memorial.
Oh, that would be great.
Let me tell you what, St. Louis has a lot of records for a lot of things, but Kansas City is the only city in the entire United States that has a World War I memorial or museum.
No way.
Wild, right?
You know, it's funny because now that you mention that, I've been to so many World War II everythings. And you
World War
don't
II,
really...
Korean War, Vietnam, like you have a lot of things for that. But shortly after World War I ended, there was a group of wealthy Kansas City citizens who decided that they wanted to build a memorial for the lost souls of World War I. And they, you know, got a group together. It was like 20 of the most elite and wealthy people in Kansas City, and they decided to do this memorial. And then it was officially dubbed in 2004, from what I recall, to be the official World War I memorial of the United States.
Wow.
And so for years, it was this incredible memorial, but it didn't become super official until about, 80 years until after it was built. And then there was a museum that was also built, which, similar to the Arch Museum, you do have to pay to do it. We didn't pay to do it. We just walked up to the memorial, walked around the memorial. This beautiful, like, kind of reminds me of the Washington, D.C. Memorial.
Beautiful.
It's just like this tall building that just kind of like takes over, and it's on this hill.
Nice.
And you just look up at it, and I mean, it is imposing. It's pretty incredible. And at the bottom of the hill, you have Union Station.
Okay.
And so, similar to how St. Louis is such a port city, Kansas City is a train city.
Yeah.
Like all about the trains.
Huge export cities.
Huge export cities. And again, you think about it, it's the middle of America.
Yeah.
This is the stop where people would stop to regather what they needed to take a break, whatever, before they continued on to places like California, Washington, Oregon, to the rest of the United States, or vice versa, coming back to the east. This was where people would stop.
Yeah.
And refuel, whatever that looked like. And so this Union Station is massive. And I gotta say, Grand Central Station in New York City is its own beautiful piece of architecture, and it's stunning. but Union Station might have it beat in its beauty.
Really?
I mean, the ceiling alone was just stunning. They do a light show there.
Wow.
During the day and during the night. We didn't get to see the light show, but the Union Station is also connected to all these different museums. They have this cool like IMAX theater where they do different like documentaries and things like that. They also did How to Train Your Dragon at this IMAX theater, which it is the largest IMAX theater in the United States. Here we go.
Guinness World Record.
I know. I'm like, Missouri is just like pulling out the strings. They are just like going crazy.
Okay.
So anyway, we like hopped around Union Station. We walked around that for a while, which was really, really cool and just so beautiful. And we saw like where the trains were and kind of read up on a little bit of Kansas City history, but they really are all about their trains.
That's really cool.
They love their trains. They love like at the Arboretum and at Union Station, they have this whole section of the Arboretum and this whole room at Union Station that has all these remote trains that are just like going around and like it's so interesting. So for kids, it's especially fun to see that. But even as an adult, I was like, oh, it's so cool to watch these remote controlled trains go around these sets that they've created.
Well, and you know, especially because I think trains are fascinating and like, if you're an American listening to this, you probably relate because Europeans, there's trains everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Europe, everybody takes trains. Here we drive everywhere. So like trains are like at this point in our lives a very foreign concept. Like unless you are like living in a suburb outside of a city and you take the train regularly, you live like in Connecticut and you go into New York, or you live in like Itasca and go into the city of Chicago. Like you really are just like trains. There are trains here? You know, I live in Fort Myers, Florida, or Fairhope, Alabama. I don't know I've never been on a train, you know? So I think that's really cool because trains are so cool. And again, they're a lot more eco-friendly. There's just a cheap and easy, fast way. A lot of trains, like that go into big cities, are actually quite clean. And it's fun because you don't have to worry about watching the road or anything. You can read a book on your way to work or whatnot.
And there's bathrooms on them. You know, it's like, it's
and
great.
The history of like the railway tycoons coming in, like post-Civil War era, like that history is so cool. And I bet St. Louis and Kansas City Kansas City specifically was a huge time for the country and for all those like entrepreneurs that were running the railways and kind of racing across the country with them. So,
for sure. And the Union Station has a post office, which often, and I think this is probably true for most train stations across the United States, especially in the 1800s and early 1900s, these train stations had post offices connected to them. And I think that the one in Kansas City was the third largest post office in the United States, probably next to like Chicago and New York, or like a Boston or something like that, or even in Atlanta. And again, because it was such a hub, it was such a central hub of our country, and people would go get on a train and they'd drop off their mail, you know? Because we were wondering, we were like, oh, how strange that like a post office and a train station would be connected, and yet it's not strange.
No.
That seems totally normal, especially when you think of that being the only means of communication before the telephone.
Yeah. For
people they'd get on a train and they'd send their mail.
Yeah.
So I just thought, the history of the 1800s and early 1900s in Missouri is quite fascinating. And again, that was the era of Mark Twain. And he was really capturing a lot of what this era was about, both the good, the bad, and the ugly in what he was writing about and what he was talking about with a lot of different people in that time. So I found that really fascinating. Yeah, Huck Finn. And it was cool to see the Missouri River and the Mississippi. I mean, I grew up on the Mississippi in North Carolina. It's a huge river. And just seeing both the Missouri and the Mississippi. And
That's cool.
In college, we did the show, the musical that, oh wow, the name is escaping me. Oh my gosh, but it's about Huck Finn. And Big River. It's called Big River. And it's about Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer and all those characters. And so that was just really cool to be like, oh my gosh, I'm here in the place where these stories were created and developed and based on real people.
You know, I remember going on a really cool cave tour where like we went on this like Mark Twain tour where they took us like through the adventures of Huck Finn. And so like we went in this one cave at one point and we just had this great tour guide, and it was fun because, you know, when you read the book, you learn all the places they went. And so he's like, one point they're in a cave, we went in this cave and it was pitch black and he was messing with us, he's like, put your thumb and wiggle your fingers. And he's like, now there was no point to that. You just look stupid. And we all laughed. But, it was just really fun to be like, oh, I feel like I'm immersed in this state and like on the adventures that Mark Twain actually wrote about. So cool. And like, it's like you talked about, the city's incredible. Both of these cities are incredible and they have so many city things to do. But like you said, the nature in this state is beautiful.
And there were lots of ads for caves and I thought, caves, how strange. Like they're
kind
not
of scary.
Yeah. But that's a big thing in Missouri is the caves and the parks. Truly, just like the outdoor beauty is amazing. And again, you're not seeing big mountains. You're not seeing beautiful beaches. It's not the kind of beauty that we often think of when we think of the most amazing parts of our country. But it really is a huge aspect of Missouri. And they've preserved so much of the land. And as I said, Forest Park in St. Louis is massive. I mean, just a huge park. But one thing that was kind of a random thing that we did that I just thought was really cool, there are a lot of libraries in Kansas City.
Okay.
It's a big city and they have a whole, as most big cities do, have a whole public library system. And there are a lot of different buildings in the public library system. But one of them is an old bank. And it's probably the main public library. They renovated this bank into this gorgeous public library, and you walk in, it still has the chandeliers, it still has the big columns. I mean, it's still that beautiful stone building. And they like expanded it, and I mean the library itself is massive, and next to the library is the public parking for the library, and it's called the Community Bookshelf. And the facade of the library, or of the parking for the library, looks like a bookshelf.
No way.
It's literally books. Wow. And it's got the Mark Twain books. I think it's got Pride and Prejudice. It's got Winnie the Pooh. Like, it's got a lot of the classics.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was a really cool sight to see. So we went to the library. You can park free at the public library if you get go get your thing validated at the library.
Your card.
And so we parked in the parking lot that had the cool book facade, saw the book facade, and then walked around the library. And I thought that was just like a cool piece of history and an interesting thing to do and see, because that's very unique.
Totally. Now, how would you compare it to, I know you talked about when you went to Boston, you loved that public library in Copley Square, Copley Square.
That library felt more, I mean, when you think of Boston, you think of like the 1700s. Yeah. And then, of course, when you're in a place like Missouri, that's the height of more of like the 1800s. And so you see the time differences in the architecture. And a lot of the 1700s, I think, there was this like, with that library, there was almost like this Greco-Roman kind of thing that it seemed like they were going for, a very like stately feeling, while also having like some fountains, and like they had like a whole open outdoor like courtyard area in Boston. Whereas this one, again, it was an old bank that would have been built in probably the early 1800s. Yeah. So it had its own classic kind of feel, but you can tell the eras are a little bit different, and the design itself, but both very, very incredible buildings that you could spend a couple hours just learning about the history alone of the building. But it was just, neat to walk around and see how these museums have their own history related to the city that they're in. And lastly, we got to talk about two different things, because first of all, one thing that I didn't know about Kansas is the nightlife. Is really cool.
How was that?
And there's this area called the Power and Light District.
Okay.
And it's a part of downtown. It's north of downtown, and it's just like lots of really cool restaurants, lots of really cool bars, just lots of different like cool places to stop and hang out. And it's just a really like well built and well organized part of downtown. And then they have like at night, it's just like really beautiful with the lights and all of that. And we did it's called the KC Wheel, and it's a Ferris wheel. And when you go up in it, you can see the whole downtown. You could see all the different parts, and we decided to go up in it at night so that we could, like, because we went to the Power and Light District not when it was like totally dark. I'm sure it was even cooler like when you were in it, but we were able to see it from the Ferris wheel. So we went in the Ferris wheel on the last time that you could get on the Ferris wheel at like 9:15 or something, and we saw the city from the Ferris wheel.
Wow.
And they also have putt-putt. It's like this cute little area
So
that
cute.
has kind of cropped up recently where you can play putt-putt and get on the Ferris wheel. And that is also not free, but we thought it was a fun activity and a
Yes.
cool way to see the city at night.
Yes. And another great place for kids. It reminds me a little bit of
Yes.
like the Navy Pier vibe of Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And just like, yeah, just exploring the city and seeing all the really cool buildings. There's this, I think it's called, I don't know if it's a civic center or convention center, but it's just a really cool building. When we post this episode, I'll be posting some pictures and you'll see this building. It kind of reminds me of the Sydney Opera House.
Okay.
And it's
beautiful.
And it's like, it's just,
neat.
it's just, the architecture is so crazy and cool and
Yeah.
weird. But how can we talk about Kansas City without talking about barbecue?
Oh, I'm ready for this.
So
Here for
this will
it.
be the last thing we talk about with Kansas City. The barbecue scene is hot. I mean, it truly, that was really one of the only things that I did know about Kansas City going into Kansas City,
Oh,
because
so that's like the sole reason you went. Just
that was
kidding.
like kind of the main reason that we went. I will say I was very excited to see St. Louis because I knew more things about it. And I was like, oh yeah, we should see Kansas City. That's cool. Kansas City definitely surprised me in all of the different awesome things that we got to see there. But we ate a lot of barbecue.
Oh.
We went to 2 different barbecue places. There were so many to choose from, and I was like, okay, we can't eat at 5 different places. Like, that would be insane. Our stomachs would be so mad at us. But we chose 2 different places, and they were very different in style. One was a lot more fancy, and it was the Jack Stack restaurant. Like, we went to the Freight House one. Jack Stack has a couple different locations.
Okay.
But we went to the Freight House one, which was near Union Station, and it's literally, this restaurant is built into an old train freight house.
Oh, how cool.
And it's kind of like there's a couple restaurants that are built into this freight house, and then you're right across from the station and the tracks. And it's just like a really cool area. But this restaurant was very fancy, and it was like an hour-long wait. And so we actually like put our names in, and then we scooted around town a little bit more.
Oh, that's so
and
fun.
then came back and sat outside, which by this point it was like pretty. This one we did in the evening, and it was pretty pleasant in the evening by
nice,
then.
okay.
And we tried some delicious barbecue. We did ribs, pulled pork, you got to have it all. And I had actually never had spare ribs before. I've only had baby back ribs.
Right.
So I tried spare ribs for the first time, and
You liked
oh
them?
my gosh, so good. Yeah, I might have even liked them better than baby back.
Really?
Like I was like,
they're good.
they
my
were
favorite
really,
is
really good.
Brisket. Did you try brisket?
Well, so we had brisket at the other location that we went to, which is called Arthur Bryant's. And this place is like in kind of like a part of town that's like kind of on the outskirts of town a little bit.
Is it very like hole in the wall-y?
It's very hole in the wall, but this is a place where famous people, like on the walls, they have pictures of famous people that have eaten at this place, including Harrison Ford.
Wow.
There was a picture of Sally Fields and Spielberg
Wow.
eating here. Obama, Sarah Palin, Jimmy Carter.
Whew.
I mean, there were presidents.
So many
presidents
people.
that have eaten here. Famous,
Yeah.
famous politicians and famous actors, and there were Glover, Donald Glover. Is he an athlete?
That's his name.
Anyway, there were like so many people that I was like, okay, I recognize their face, but I'm not entirely sure who they are. I mean, obviously Obama is like super recognizable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this place is like, you go up to the counter, you just order, and then, you get your food at the counter, and it's like family owned, and their brisket was so good. And the portions there were massive. We did a half brisket sandwich because we were like, okay, we want to try a half brisket sandwich. We want to try the sliced pork. And then we also did fries, and we did some ribs. And we thought,
did you hear that?
Yeah.
My stomach just went.
Stomach is
I
rolling.
was like, excuse me, everyone.
And we were like, okay, 2 sandwiches, some ribs, some fries, like that'll be fine. Oh no, it was so much food. These sandwiches were stacked so high. The brisket was insane. Like each of us took half of this sandwich and we were full. But
enough.
Oh,
I can't.
y'all, the brisket there was unbelievably good. It was
Guys,
amazing.
This sounds so good.
Anyway, that's Kansas City.
No, keep talking dirty to me.
Just
Like,
keep talking about barbecue.
My eyes are watering. My stomach, my mouth is watering. My stomach's watering.
I know. Can you tell that we haven't had lunch yet?
Yeah, you guys can tell.
So,
We've been on the grind.
Yeah, that was really great. Food was the highlight in Kansas City. I mean, among other things, it was a really great day, and the barbecue was on point. And it was fun to do, go to 2 very different places as far as barbecue is concerned.
Yeah.
But lastly,
I do think that's funny real quick on the barbecue, because you know how a lot of restaurants, your like eyes are always bigger than your stomach.
Oh, yeah.
But like barbecue, I always make this mistake where I'm like, okay, we either order what we're gonna eat, or like we better have a fridge at the hotel, because I like cannot waste food. And they do give you, because you want to try lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to try the pulled pork, and I want to try these ribs, and I want to try this brisket, and then like literally you get enough to feed like 10 people, and it's just you and your significant other, and you're like, what do we do?
Yeah. But we managed. We managed it. I mean,
I believe that.
We were
not necessarily because of you, but Matt can eat as much as my husband can eat.
Yep.
But Matt's a lot bigger than my husband, but they can both eat. As in not fat, but he's a very tall man. You guys have seen Matt Michael. In case Matt listens to this, let me rephrase that. He's a strong Gaston-like man.
That's
and
right.
Those
He's
men
gotta
can
eat his raw eggs.
Yeah.
Every
Anyway,
morning.
I'm gonna stop talking because I'm digging a hole. But Natalie. This place sounds literally amazing.
Yeah, no, it was really, really great. And to be able to try all those different things was awesome. And the truth is, we were scooting a boot all day in Kansas City as well, but we were walking a lot. I mean, it's crazy because both our days we took trains, we scooted, we did ride in cars, we were all these things, but we had 20K steps for both of those days. Even with all of the scooting and the riding, everything we were doing, we were still walking so much. So we were earning our barbecue.
Yeah, that's right. Would you say that this city is a walkable city, or like less?
Absolutely.
Less walkable? Okay.
I think that St. Louis feels a little bit more walkable because the downtown is like, it's more tight.
Right.
But Kansas City felt more sprawling.
More sprawled, yeah.
So again, that's why I would suggest, like, if you can, doing the scootering or biking, or if you do, again, the metro in St. Louis was great. I don't recall if Kansas City, I do think there's a streetcar actually that's free.
Okay.
So nice. You know what? That was one thing that we didn't end up doing, but that was suggested to us if we wanted to get on the streetcar that's free.
That's fun, like San Francisco or like NOLA.
Yes.
Those streetcars there are fun.
And they stop everywhere and you can do that. So that's another easy way to tour the city. They make it really easy to see the things that you want to see, which I really appreciated. Yeah. So now we'll get to lastly, sweet little Macon.
Aw,
Macon, Missouri. So Macon, there's not really a lot to say about Macon other than it represents what I think is true of a lot of these middle America states, which I think is true of a lot of the states in general, is that we are made up of small towns. Mm-hmm. Like that is what our country is made up of. And I think most countries are made up of small towns. Mm-hmm. And then you have the bigger cities that, obviously have a lot of people in them, but
right.
St. Louis and Kansas City are hours away from each other. Right. So in between these massive cities, you have all these small towns. And Macon is north of, it's, northern Missouri. Mm-hmm. And the main thing in Macon, I should say, is Maple's Repertory Theater, which is where Matt was doing Rock of Ages. And as I said, my purpose for going to Missouri was to see him in this show. And we had some other friends in the show as well that I was really excited to see that we've worked with in the past. And Rock of Ages, super fun show, mm-hmm. 80s music,
so funny.
Just like a very
Great
funny
music.
show. Matt is fantastic in it. And this random professional theater that like does really great theater in the middle of this small town, but that's kind of what draws people to Macon. Again, super charming town, kind of just very representative of like a small town in Missouri. If you think about a small town in Missouri, you're probably thinking about Macon. But if you go to Macon or anywhere near Macon, you're probably going because of Maple's Repertory Theater. And there are a couple like cute restaurants around town. You know, these places, they definitely want to like have some nice things for the people that come see their, like if you have entertainment in your town, you're often going to have good restaurants and other things like that. But Macon mostly offers Maple's Repertory Theater. So that's really like, we didn't really do much there other than see
Except
shows.
you saw my house. You saw the old Wardell house.
The old Wardell house.
Yeah, you admired the architectural heritage. Guys,
Oh,
on a side note, if you do not read our blogs, they are awesome. Like, I'm so
the old-
conceited.
you're right.
I think my blogs are great. Natalie's are better. So, like, there's going to be a blog with this. And so you guys go to our website, www.travelbrats.com, and check out our blog on all of these cities.
Yeah.
And you can check out all the cute little things that we've written about. But anyway, yeah.
we didn't actually go to the old Wardell house. That was one thing that they said to do in Macon if you
happen to be
be there. Because again, as I said, I don't really think that you're going to find yourself there randomly. Like, you're probably going there to see a show.
I've done that before. We're like, we went to Texas once and we went to like Richardson, and it was like, what in the world do we do in Richardson? But we found a really good theater.
We found a really good theater. It's so crazy. People need entertainment. They need arts and culture.
Yeah.
And I will say that Macon is not too far. St. Louis is also not too far from Missouri wine country.
Ooh.
So some people go for the wine. And if you're doing like a little tour through Missouri, I would say Macon is a good one to hit up. There's also a town outside of Macon called Columbia that the actors were like, oh yeah, Columbia is where you go to actually like hang out and do things. And like, it's more of like a little smaller city, not like St. Louis, but it is a city, whereas Macon is a town.
That's good to know, because
So-
some of our travel brats may live here and may be like,
Yeah.
what cities do I explore on the weekends and whatnot? You know?
True, exactly. So if you have any other thoughts, if you are from Missouri or love Missouri a lot and want to tell us other things that we should tell our travel brats once we post this podcast and talk about it on our socials and our blog, then, you know, we can always add more info about these beautiful and very special cities that I have now feel like I've been blessed to experience.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go back to St. Louis. It's definitely a place that I want to visit again.
Yeah, and it's a place I want to visit again. Gosh, the last time I went, I think I was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So hardly remember it, except for the funny caves that scared me with the bats and all that, and the Mark Twain stuff, and the Becky Thatchers. But guys, Missouri is so much more than Becky Thatcher's. So check it out, guys. Give us a review if you liked us. If you hate us, go listen to another podcast. You don't have to give us a review. And we love you, and we will catch you on the next Travel Brat Tuesday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.